When I was in college, I was a summer camp counselor on what's called a teen tour, where we would take a bunch of middle school kids and travel to a different area each week. There was one girl who was part of the group. We'll call her Julie. Julie had ADHD. And one of the things I remembered about Julie early on was that she always had this negative look on her face. And she always looked like she was irritated about something. Now, when we were away on the trips each week, the kids would be able to call home at night. This predates cell phones, so they were calling home from the hotel payphones. One of the things all the counselors started noticing was that when the kids would call home at night, Julie would just start rattling off a bunch of negative comments about the hotel we were staying at or embellish things. Now, that wasn't a problem that Julie was being negative. The problem was her parent was feeding into it with their undivided attention. Julie's complaining and negativity to her parent was so bad that the camp director would assign one of us counselors to go stand near the payphone when she was on it just to monitor what she was saying, knowing that she might get a phone call about it. In hindsight, looking back now, I realized that Julie's negative attitude was probably exacerbated by the fact that she learned, probably from a very young age, that the more negative she was, the more she got her parents' undivided attention. And as a result of that, I think Julie learned that if she had a negative look on her face, then people would be more likely to ask her what's wrong. And again, that was a way of getting attention. I should mention that Julie came with a group of girls who had been at the camp before. And this other group of girls, they tolerated Julie, but they didn't really seem to like her. My sense of why they tolerated her was their parents were all friendly because they all lived in the same community. I have found in over 30 years of doing this at this point that a lot of kids will use negativity to get their parents' attention or get their parents worried because it helps them to feel that their parents care about them and it gives them their undivided attention. That's not a problem in itself. What is a problem is when the parent feeds into it as Julie's parent did. So if your child has a propensity to be negative, the best things you can do are number one, not fish for the negatives. What I mean by that is some parents have a propensity to ask questions in the negative. So instead of saying, did you have a good time today? They would say, was everybody nice to you today? Or was anybody mean to you today? Implying that maybe there was something negative that happened. The other thing that's important is don't feed into negative comments with discussion. I have to tell you, I found that parents who spend a lot of time on parenting social media have been led to believe that every negative feeling their child expresses has to be met with validation and processing of emotions and really what I call playing armchair therapist. That's not helpful to kids because feelings are temporary, discomfort is temporary, and when you validate and process every negative comment they make, what that teaches them is that not only is this a way for me to get attention, but there's also validity in this because my parent is giving it so much attention that maybe I'm actually right about it when I don't actually feel this way. I don't believe there's any such thing as a kid who has a propensity to be negative. Rather, I believe there's kids like Julie who learn that the more negative they are, the more attention it gets them from their parents, and they learn to take that outside of the home, which does not serve them well, particularly with their peers.